On this channel, I spend a lot of time talking to you about what it means to be an executive. But today I want to talk about what it means to be a leader. Specifically, what I want to talk about is how being a leader is different sometimes than being an executive. Welcome into the channel. My name is Tom, and I'm the founder of Vertical Motion, where we help mid-career professionals become executives. If that's interesting to you, check out the links down below. Love for you to subscribe if this is valuable to you. You can also check us out on Instagram. Today, what we're doing is we're talking about really the difference between the definition of what is an executive and what is a leader. And this is my definitions. I'm not pulling this from somewhere. This is based on what I've seen in working with hundreds of executives and aspiring executives now. So I want to talk about what makes those two different. What it means to be an executive, what it means to be a leader. Sometimes they're not the same thing. Sometimes they are. So first and foremost, the difference between an executive and a leader, the biggest difference is executives have what's called positional authority. Positional authority just means that they have the mandate and the responsibility given to them by an organization to lead the organization. And so an executive is someone who is literally charged with doing the job of leadership. Leaders don't necessarily have to have that positional authority. Instead, what leaders have is what I call earned authority. Earned authority is when someone agrees to let you lead them because they see you as the best leader in the area at the moment. So for example, several of you are on a hike and you're up in the mountains and you're going up a trail, and one of you has been up this trail 30 times and the rest of you, this is your first or second time. Well, it makes sense to let that person be the leader if they're naturally predisposed to do that. They would have the earned authority because they have the experience, the knowledge of going up this trail. So that's an example of earned authority. But another example is, imagine in your workplace, there's probably one or two people in your organization who they don't have the title. They're not like the chief anything or even the vice president of anything. They have some esoteric title, but people come to them. They come to them for advice and insight and guidance. And if that person doesn't agree with the plan usually doesn't happen. That's a leader who has earned authority, not necessarily positional authority. And that's why we talk about there's really two org charts in every organization. There's the org chart that everybody is aware of, and then there's the influencer chart. And the influencer chart shows you who the true nodes and leaders of an organization is. And this is why I want to draw the distinction between, if you have the executive title, you don't necessarily have the leadership title. And so when you marry the two, that's when the best outcomes happen. But you can have executives who have no leadership skill, and you can have leaders who don't have executive authority to do things. So I just want to draw the distinction between these two. I think it's far more important to focus on building leadership skills than executive skills, which we'll talk about in a second. Because if you don't have the leadership skills in the executive role, you're not going to be a very effective executive. So that's the first difference between an executive and a leader. An executive has positional authority. They may or may not have earned authority, whereas a leader has that earned authority and they may or may not have the positional authority. Does that make sense? Okay. So with that, let's dive into the second one, which is having executive skills versus leadership skills. Executive skills look like strategy, M&A, presentation, the ability to manage profit and loss, or P&L, the financial statements of an organization, the ability to build an organization and lead an organization. All of these are executive level skills that you need to have in order to be successful at the executive level. And in my program, we teach these executive skills. There's other skills that people have and learn even without being an executive that I call leadership skills. And these skills are a little bit different. These are around communication, the ability to create a mission and a vision and a passion statement about what matters to you, and also the ability to inspire and incentivize people around you to want to do the things that you want them to do in order to work towards some great common goal. If you have those executive skills and leadership skills, it makes you a great executive. But if you have the executive skills, the ability to do strategy, great presentations, M&A, build organizations, but you don't have those leadership qualities, communication, vision, inspiration, that makes you a poor executive. I see people who are leaders that are not executives having those gifts, communication, vision, inspiration, passion, energy. They gravitate people towards them and move together to do something great, but they're not not necessarily the executives of the organization. Those are the people that I tend to work with and actually find the best success with, helping them move up to the executive level. But understand, executives, when they are interviewing for these executive level skills. They also need to have and demonstrate those leadership qualities in order to be successful in the role. So that's the second difference between executives and leaders, executive skills versus leadership skills. Now, the third difference is the one that has caused the most consternation and damage to the idea of what it means to be a great executive. And that is corporate goals versus life purpose. Leaders have a life purpose. They have a reason, a raison d'etre, a reason to live. In Ikigai, which is an exercise that I like to use in order to help understand what is your life purpose. For me, my life purpose is to teach leadership to people who are authentic, empathetic, and audacious, because I want good people in great leadership roles. That's my life purpose. And I find most leaders that I know have a life purpose. They're very clear about what their mission is in life, what their vision for the world is. Executives that don't have a life purpose, or they suppress their life purpose, wind up following corporate goals instead of their life purpose. And this is where things go sideways, because in modern society, for whatever reason, in the last 40 to 50 years, we have decided that shareholders reign supreme. And whatever the shareholders want, that's what the leaders or the executives of the organization are supposed to deliver. They are delivering value to shareholders at the cost of the long-term viability and sustainability of the organizations that they lead. Does that make them great leaders? No. They might be great executives, but they're terrible leaders if they're destroying the value that their organization is meant to create. It doesn't make sense. You're killing the golden goose. You're pulling the eggs out of the dead goose, and you're using that now because that's what we want today. Shareholders will just move on to the next goose and start killing that too to get the eggs out of it. No, that's not what leaders do. That's unfortunately what greedy corporate executives do. And those people are not leaders. The people who run Boeing, this new CEO of Starbucks, these people are not leaders. They are corporate executives, and they are focusing only on corporate goals. Leaders build businesses and organizations around their life purpose, and they lead organizations in harmony, in synchronicity with their life purpose. So if their life purpose is to bring coffee to the masses, but do it in a way that's ethical and sustainable, which that's what I thought Starbucks was about. Sure as hell doesn't seem like it with all of their anti-union behavior and this new CEO making 5,000 times the salary of the lowest paid Starbucks employee. What the hell? What the hell? That doesn't make any sense. That's not leadership. That's corporate greed. And so this is what I think drives most people crazy when they think about, what is a great executive? Well, is a great executive someone who makes $131 million a year and gets to fly their corporate jet from home 5 times a week? Or is it someone who can build an organization that withstand decades and will grow continuously and serve people, planet, and also profit to the shareholders, but over a sustained period of time? Like, we've lost our long-term horizon ability in corporate America. We have forgotten about the fact that next year is coming too, and the sins of today will be reaped tomorrow. We have to dial back this greed and help executives remember what it means to be leaders as well. So that is the third distinction that I make between executives and leaders. One follows corporate goals and the other follows their life purpose. So to summarize, you have executives who have positional authority. They have executive skills and they follow corporate goals. You have leaders who have earned authority. They have leadership skills and they follow their life purpose. Now, the best executives are also leaders. The best leaders are also executives. You have to really have both to make this work. And I think that understanding the difference, the nuanced difference between how people think about executives and how people think about leaders is really important, especially in this day and age, as we watch and look at people who are toxic, greedy, and destroying the things that they're supposed to be protecting and building. So I just wanted to share that with you. I really feel strongly that we can do better at the executive level across the world. We can build executives who understand the value of creating something that's long-term and sustainable and good for not only the shareholders, but also the employees and the vendors and the customers. So let me know in the comments if you understand the difference between executive and leader, or if this is even a distinction that you would draw differently. I'm really curious to hear about this. So hope this was helpful to you, and I'll see you in the next one.